Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Adewale Abanigbe. On behalf of my colleagues, Professor Olutola and Ngxumesh Ayanda, we are presenting a research titled Adoption of Climate Change Techniques, Poverty Alleviation in Sustainable Smallholder Poultry Production in Nigeria. And I'm from Tshwane University of Technology, Pretoria, South Africa. Now, these are presentation slides, and I'm going to take you through this one after the other. Yeah, to start with, let me give a background that poverty is one of the issues that deprive sustainability in developing nations of Africa, which Nigeria is one of the key countries in the world that has been faced with poverty. And climate change incidences has been exacerbating the impact of poverty, especially within the smallholder poultry production. Of course, I must inform that smallholder activity is one of the great activities that brings about food security or food systems in developing nations, Nigeria, for instance. So you can imagine the fate of the chickens that have this environment. What you can think of is that this is going to be a low productivity. Now, climate change has bring about consequence of droughts, heat stress, and erratic rainfall, and of course, leading to disease outbreaks in most of the activities of the smallholder poultry activity. For instance, temperature increase bring about physiological change, where the chicken will have decrease of egg production, and the environmental areas of the chicken will lead to high incidence of egg spoilage. And of course, this also brings about feed intake will be decreased. And of course, what you expect is less meat production, and the disease will be prevalent in this kind of environment. Colleagues, I must confirm to you that this leads to increasing poverty in most of the developing nations of Africa, Nigeria, for instance. So this study specifically have two basic objectives, which is to determine the factors enhancing adoption of climate change adaptation strategies and choice of climate change adaptation strategy by poverty alleviation in the study area. Yes, this study is specifically done in Nigeria, Southwest states, Lagos, and Ogun State. And purposely, we selected these two states because it has high level of smallholder poultry production, where we have a lot of transborder businesses around these communities of Lagos and Ogun State. And the sampling is a multi-stage sampling techniques having 4 stages. The first stage is purposive selection of 2 agricultural zones from each of the states, that's Lagos State and Ogun State. And the second stage is purposive selection of 2 blocks, that is local government from each of the zones. And the third stage is selection of 3 communities, cells. And we went ahead to select 15 smallholder poultry farmers from each of the cells to make up 360 sample size. Now, data was collected using questionnaires and focus group discussion, and we deploy statistical tools, descriptive and inferential. Descriptive includes percentage, mean score, standard deviation, and of course, we use that to determine awareness of climate change adaptation strategy by smallholder poultry farmers and how they have adjusted to reduction of impact of climate change adaptation strategy. And of course, the binary logistics irrigation model was conducted also to analyze factors and to bring about signals of the adoption of adaptation strategies and choice of climate change adaptation strategies on poverty reduction by these smallholder poultry farmers. Yeah, colleagues, the results we have is the first result is on factors influencing adaptation strategy show that about 661% of farmers that are aged around 39 and 58 has the likelihood of adopting climate change through the influence of extension agents. And of course, male has more influence to adopt climate change through infrastructure and extension agents. Of course, this can also be linked into cultural positioning of male over female in developing nations of Nigeria, especially Southwest Nigeria. And significantly, we can inform that the household size, farmers that have large household size have the influence of about, if you look at this statistics on infrastructure, this shows that about 52% of them, of farmers that are within this likelihood of less than 5 can adopt climate change using access to infrastructure. And the influence of school also has an impact. Those of them that are that have more than 11 years schoolings have access to credits. And of course, we can look at that in the area of their educational access. Now, simply on this slide, we observe that one of the things that influence the farmers, especially on the area of access to extension, is their motivation to adopt rearing of poultry for multiple purposes, maybe to sell poultry as a live birds, or maybe to sell poultry into secondary production where they process the chicken meat, or where they sell their eggs directly by themselves, or where they also do their livelihood of the other byproducts from the chicken, like the fecal, the feather. So these are things that influence them through extension agents, maybe because of information access that they have. That also influence them to adopt climate change. And we also see significantly that chicken meat, that is the product from the chicken, that is the product from the poultry, that is the meat of the poultry itself, influence their access to extension agents, maybe through information. And also, one of the great significance of this report is that their membership in cooperative society also influence their adoption of climate change, and this also influence and also reduce the level of poverty within these smallholder poultry farmers. Now, before we go into the second objective, we try to look at the awareness of these farmers to climate change strategy. And from the statistics, you can see that more than 80% of them are aware of these adaptation strategies that they have access to. And the second year shows that about over 88% have adjusted to reduction of negative impact of climate change through the adoption of these strategies. And then we now look at the choice of these farmers of the available adaptation strategies that they have. Four strategies were disposed to them, which include water ventilation, traditional practices, the use of medicines, and the use of vitamin. And of course, we can say from this result that schooling has a very great impact in the role of use of water ventilation, as well as also the use of buying medicines and for use by this farmer. And of course, we also see from this result that their experience also influenced them in the area of using medicines and vitamins to reduce the impact of climate change in their productivity, in their livelihood, and of course that influence the reduction of poverty within this study area. Now, we also observe that the production of chicken meat also has a very great influence in accepting or use of water ventilation on all of the adaptation strategy that they have, and this also influences that they can adjust to use multiple strategies to reduce impact of climate change for poverty reduction within their setting. Colleagues, this study concludes with this following: that climate change adaptation strategies significantly improve livelihood and alleviate poverty for the smallholder poultry farmers in the study area. And of course, socioeconomic variables that were listed were significantly influencing adoption of climate change adaptation strategies. And this results also conclude that strong social networks influence older farmers to adopt climate change adaptation strategies, and exposure to extension agents influence large farm households to adopt climate change adaptation strategies. And also, the study also conclude and observe that male farmers benefited more from access to resources, maybe through credits, maybe through use of infrastructure, or maybe through use of other novel technologies that can enhance their adoption of climate change, that actually influence them to a better livelihood. And this male farmers is specifically because of the socio-cultural norms that are positioned within the study area. And we also observe that education and experience enhance the likelihood of farmers adopting advanced or multiple strategies for in this study area. Also, the study also concludes that advanced strategies like water ventilation, which were specifically observed along, by the time we were doing this study, we observed strongly that most of the farmers, some of these older farmers, they use combination of water ventilation, vitamins, and medicines like antibiotics. Some of them also use the medicines like garlic, ginger to also influence the reduction of climate change within their their farm activities. And farmers involved in poultry processing adopt multiple strategies. That is, those of them that are doing more of processing, maybe from live product to processed product, they adopt multiple strategies like water ventilation, vitamins, and medicine. And of course, this is significant to higher investment and market orientation. And significantly, we also observe that cooperative membership influence access to information, credit access, and multiple strategies that these farmers adopt. That is, they combine the use of water ventilation, the use of medicines and vitamins, and sometimes they move from the use of a traditional method, maybe the use of garlic and other ethnomedicines to influence or to reduce the impact of climate change. Now, this study, therefore, have this policy recommendation because of the fact that we observe that climate change adaptation strategies significantly improve productivity, livelihoods, and reduce poverty within the study area, and hence the need to strengthen extension services and cooperative networks. Hence, the need to improve access to climate-smart technologies, to the need to improve access to credit facility, and the need to incorporate indigenous knowledge. Yes, that's one of the key things that we observed during the course of this study. The need to incorporate indigenous knowledge to advance strategies, and the need to promote public awareness on climate change adaptation strategies. Colleagues, there is a need for further research, and this study also has bring about the need to focus on limited extension services, the need to bring about inadequate infrastructure, and how to synchronize the rural infrastructure with indigenous knowledge, and also the challenge of high feed cost and inputs need to look at and see how this also can enhance the livelihood of the farmers and the poor market access. And also the holistic cooperative development also are some of the research gap that we observe in this study, and we recommend that this should be looked into. And of course, to achieve all of these things, the study concludes by saying that this study enhances resilience of smallholder poultry farmers and also helps in attainment of SDG number 1, that is end poverty in all its form everywhere by 2030, and SDG number 2, to end hunger, to achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture by 2030, and SDG number 13, that is take urgent action to reduce the impact of climate change within the scope of the study area. Colleagues, I want to thank you for your attention, and good afternoon once again. It is good to the greats. Thank you.